Hey everybody, how's it going? Mike here from the Focus Garage, the freezing Focus Garage, and today we're going to be putting LED interior lights in my 2015 Jetta. This process should be the same for all Mark 6 generation Jettas, so we're going to go ahead and get started now. I ordered my bulbs from DeAutoKey, and all of their bulbs are advertised to be error-free and flicker-free. They're not going to stay on when the car is off, everything like that. So there is a little bit of a premium price for these bulbs, but they are pretty much the best bulbs that you can buy for these cars here. So without much, let's go ahead and get started with it. The only thing you should need to do this installation is just a variety of trim removal tools here. Some of these pieces are on very, very tight, so it may take a little bit of fidgeting to get everything off. But with this, we're going to do the front here. Make sure that your interior lights, whatever ones you're working on, are off. That way you don't pop any fuses when you're pulling bulbs out or putting new bulbs in. So I just go ahead and flip the switch here. I turned off the front lights that we're working on. Mine's got a sunroof, so you're going to see the sunroof switch here. You want to pop this trim off around the sunroof piece. So I started up in this corner here, and I pretty much just popped it down. And then from that, you can pretty much just work your tool all the way up around there. And there you go. The piece falls down to the ground. So that's this trim piece here. Now that that's off, I believe you want to pull the front light piece out here. Maybe.
Maybe use the other side of the tool.
Yeah, possibly. Yep, there we go. So there goes that cover. As you can see, I was pushing that towards the rear of the car. So the first cover, you want to push down towards the front of the car. And then the second cover here, you want to push back towards the rear of the car. With that out, you now have this plastic piece here that's kind of, shiny and reflective. I want to say that this piece also pops straight down. Yeah, it's going to look just like that. All right, so here's the tabs that we're dealing with. Ironically, there's only 4 of them. It feels like there's 100. You just got one tab there, one tab there. Your best bet is just kind of get leverage and pry down on them. This tool kind of worked best. I was trying the angled side at first, but the angled wants to flex when you're pulling. So just this straight, thin kind of trim removal piece ended up doing the trick for us. So we pulled that down, and here's what we're left with. So very easy now. You have pretty much full access to the bulbs, one there and one there. So I'm going to grab what I need, and we'll switch them out. So this is the dome slash rear dome LEDs. The front ones are just normal style bulbs like we see here. I think everything else in the car is festoon style where it kind of gets a sandwich piece between metal. But the front ones are just very simple standard LED bulbs. So with that, you just pretty much take the bulb, pull it straight down forwards, and it will drop out. And then with these, I think they are polarity sensitive, so it might take a little trial and error. Go ahead and pop this guy in here. Or not. There we go. That one. And then this one, same thing. Just pull straight down towards the front of the car. So before you go ahead and put all the trim on, they do recommend testing the pieces because they are polarity sensitive. All I got to do is just flip this. That one's backwards, and that one's backwards. So we'll go ahead and flip them 180 degrees, and we'll see here. So there's that. Just a simple flip like that.
Test it.
Hang on. Woo! All right. So we got that one there. There we go. All right. So we got that one too. The tabs are really, really tight, so it may take a little bit of fidgeting to get these bulbs to seat in there just the way you want them. But both of those are in there now, so we're going to go ahead and just pop all the trim back on. You want to make sure that you are covering the lights here before you push this in so you don't mess with the lights. Alright, so this just takes a little bit of fidgeting to get into place. The easiest way to do it is to push this towards the front of the car. So kind of angle it up like that, get that in, and you can work the other clips in. There's only 4 of them. It'll only go in one way. Make sure the reflector bowl is pointing down towards the footwell on either side. You'll also notice there's a curved piece on here and on there. That will go towards the front side of the car. So it'll only go into place one way there. Now I've got this piece. We're going to try and fidget this in here in the same manner. Just kind of pop it right up in there. Maybe I go the other way.
Yeah.
Yep. That was easy.
So get the tabs in the back positioned first.
Yep, get the back tabs for that one, and then all this pops in. Yeah. And then same thing with this. These will all only go in one way. You got a lot of tabs here. I'm going to kind of just give it a prayer and see where it all goes.
Oh, only if you know where to
Only if I knew in the right spot where to put that. That's it.
It's not positioned in the back.
It is.
Push it.
Is it not? Okay. Now that's it. Man, I never ever want to do that again. I hope these lights still work. Okay. So that pretty much does it for the front assembly there. Not the most confidence-inspiring thing, but we didn't break anything. We didn't really gouge anything. So that's good. We're going to go ahead and move to the back of the car now and give that a shot. Hopefully it's not as bad. So it's pretty much just held in the ceiling with
Maybe use the thick one. On my phone.
I know.
With your loop.
The guide that we read made it look like you just kind of pry down. That couldn't be more far from the case. There's 4 tabs that you can see around here, and the trick to getting these out is when the piece is up in the ceiling, you want to push your trim tool to where you're releasing these tabs, because otherwise this is never going to have the clearance to come down out of the ceiling. So you've got these 4 clips around the outside that you want to work your way out one at a time. We found it's easiest if you do the front 2 and then the rear 2, and you can get them out. This is held into the ceiling just with a wiring harness here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that easily or not. Aha! Alright, so that took a lot more work than it should have. So I just unplugged that. There's 2 little tabs. Push them and pull it out. So now I've got this piece out. We've got to separate the gray cover from the tan piece here. I think it's the same thing. I think it's just a series of clips around the outside. Those guys?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Alright, so this cover will come off now that you've pried on those. And you've got very easy access to your lights here. Make sure I notice the orientation of that. So they're festoon style bulbs. So you can see that they're in these little metal clips here. The replacement style is exactly the same. So to release the bulb from these, you do pretty much just have to pull the metal out of the way a little bit, and then the bulb comes out.
You know, these are good LEDs when they have cooling shields in the back.
I was going to say, these LEDs, you can see it's got heat sinks on them, so they don't mind being on for a long period of time. You're not going to be damaging anything or, melting anything. Something to note, if they don't go back in tightly, you can bend these tabs a little bit closer to each other, so that way they're nice and secure on your vehicle. Mine fit in fine with no issues, so I'm not really going to tinker with them. So that's it. This cover pops right back on there. You'll see there's locating tabs towards the middle. So same thing, kind of do one side at a time.
And then break it into its place.
Break it all into its place there. There we go. Yeah, that was a lot easier than the front piece there. So everything just pretty much clips into place, and now that's in there. So same thing as before. You've got the wiring harness. It'll only go in one way. Plug that in. And before I pop this all up in the ceiling, I want to make sure this works. There we go. We got light. So that's good there. You want to snake the wiring harness up and back into the ceiling there. Make sure. See, this is very easy to pop back in. You can see these tabs are kind of spring-loaded. They want to just go back on their own. So once you get them, that's it. So that was a real pain to pull out, but putting them in was no problem. So we've got those back into place, and now we have LED interior in the rear. So we're gonna go ahead and move to the front of the car again because we do everything ass backwards. For the vanity lights in the interior here, you shouldn't need any tools whatsoever. All you've got to do is for the driver's side, take it and pull it down towards the passenger side, and you'll have the whole housing free. Same thing as the rear. It's a festoon style bulb, so you'll want to pull this out. You may have to bend the metal clips back a little bit here to get the bulb out. Now you have it just kind of floating around in the housing there. So, all right, so here's that. All right, just like the rear, these do have the heat sinks built into them and everything like that. But yeah, you just pretty much pop it in the one side. Might want to bend these closer together a little bit, so there's more tension between the bulb. There you go. So that's it for that one there. And you pretty much tuck it up in the ceiling, clip it into place. And the bulb rotated upside down while it was going up in there. Obviously they're not tight enough, or I did it upside down. I did it upside down. Are we going to include that in the video?
Yep.
Oh, man. I'm like, that's pretty dull.
Like a segment of
Bloopers?
bloopers. It's all you. MK wheels.
MK wheels. Porsche.
Porsche.
Alright, that's better. Alright, so you want the heatsink facing up, obviously, as any common sense would tell you. Oh, baby. Woo! That is one ugly face.
So the glove box, you want to come in from the driver's side, and there's a tab over here. You kind of go in, and then you kind of pry it off. Easily, I think. Yeah. There you go. And then you remove the harness. There's two tabs, just like the one in the back, and then you just remove it. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the metal casing over here, which is kind of like closed casing, so we got to bend it a little bit, and then it should just pop up.
So your best bet for getting that cover off is probably with some kind of small screwdriver. It is kind of meant to be a non-removable cover, but all you got to do is slightly pry up the outside tabs there, and you should be able to gain access to it. Look at that.
There you go.
Like a champ. So it is a wedge style bulb, so we're going to go ahead and pop that out and throw in the replacement.
You pop that off.
All right. Make sure, unlike me doing the vanity lights, that you place the LED signal side facing down and towards the lens.
So after filling with it and making sure everything, like every one of these little contacts, there's 4 of them, touching each other, and you know, it's all good. And before you put the metal housing, you go ahead and try and test it out. We did it and it worked. So we're gonna put the metal housing, make sure the end cap comes over here, and then should slide right up.
It's always funny to me that they use such heavy metal for a little glove box light, yet the rest of it is all chintzy plastic.
You know, I'm not gonna say it, but they love to over-engineer shit.
They do.
For no good reasons.
Can't have no light leaking out, so you got to have, you know, a nice metal little housing.
So, metal goes in between this right here, the plastic, and then you make sure your end caps and corners are over the plastic, and it just like clips in, and you're good to go.
So go ahead and plug that right back in where it came out.
Voila.
Look at that. Voila.
We have LED lights.
And it should just kind of slip back into place there. And that's it.
And this was the hardest one. Thanks, Mike.
So far.
So another hard one, and Mike asked me to do it again. So we're gonna come. Depends on the car, I guess. Some say it's on the right side, but this one is on the left side. You can see there's a hole for the removal tool to go in right here. If I break it, it's not my problem.
Maybe it is the right side. No, there's no tab?
There's no tab on the right side. Oh. There you go. So when you're putting your removal tool, you push it to this tab right here, and it's a spring loaded, and then it releases it, and then comes right off. So you take the wiring harness, and then you bend these tabs a bit to remove it. Well, we can use our tool. They're pretty solid in there. Well, there you go. So we put the LED back in here. Make sure you bend the tabs back up so it has good connection, and make sure that LED is pointing the correct direction. So in this case, it would be towards the lens, obviously. So we test it out, and we have light. So we're gonna put it back into its place, and there you go. Now you have LED lighting inside your Mark 6 Jetta.
Woohoo!
Yeah, time to party. Thanks for watching the video. Mike and I are here to help you guys out. Any questions that you guys have about this, make sure to comment below what you think about it. Is it ricey? I don't know.
I think it adds more of a premium look to cars, but yeah, if you overdo it and put them underneath your car, maybe it's ricey.
Yeah. And then share this video, subscribe, and when you subscribe, make sure to push that bell button, get all the notifications of our shenanigans in this garage, and kudos to all.
I'm losing my toes right now. We're out of here.